How's it going, guys? So we're here. I had to do a little switcheroo with OBS. This is still technically in a windowed screen, since for some odd reason, even in window capture and game capture, OBS does not want to detect Skyrim in full screen, which makes no goddamn sense to me whatsoever. So if you're new to Skyrim, well, welcome to my channel. For one, Skyrim is basically the upgraded, bigger version of Oblivion. Um, However, they did take a lot of stuff out of Skyrim that should have been put in there when they switched to make a new one, but they didn't. So all character classes are still the same, but there is a lot of different skill trees that I wish they would have switched over from Oblivion to Skyrim, but they did not. Both companies are owned by Bethesda, so I don't know why they didn't do it. So when you start the game, you're pretty much a prisoner. You know, you really have no backstory. You can make a backstory for yourself. Eventually, you go through this little story thing here, and he asks you, apologize, sir. Basically, which race are you? So you have Nords. Nords are going to be more like your bruisers. Actually, I take that back. No, Nords are more like your tanks. They have cold resistance, and they're a really good starter class, especially when you start getting into more of the colder areas where enemies are going to start using more ice magic and stuff like that. Now, if you're a fan of Animal S type characters, Khajiits are really good. They're probably one of the best classes, second, in my opinion, to Wood Elves when it comes to thieves. They're also excellent at unarmed claw attacks. So you can go with an unarmed class just using your fists. Khajiits are really going to be your only main option for that because they actually do the most damage for unarmed attacks. I almost never play unarmed because there's only one pair of gloves in the entire game that actually gives you any form of boost, and I think there's like one thing in the heavy armor tree that allows you that. Otherwise, it's like extremely rare for anyone to ever play this unless you're doing it for a challenge run. Imperials are going to be your combination between a bruiser and a tank. They're more better at trading like barter and speech and stuff like that. So if you're looking to get that little more extra gold, Imperials are going to be your way. I despise Imperials. You know, when it comes to Stormcloaks or Imperials, Stormcloaks all the way. For my own personal reasons. High Elves are basically going to be your destruction mages. They're going to regenerate magic a lot more quicker. They're going to tend to have more magic and stuff like that. I usually choose them over a Dark Elf just because of the higher amount of magicka you actually get. Now, if you're going to go just... Actually, I would say that. There should be more of a combination between Conjuration and Destruction. Dark Elves are going to be your way to go. If you're going to go a pure Destruction Mage, Dark Elves are going to be your way because they're going to have the highest amount of access to destruction spells, even through your skill tree. They're really good. They have the fire resistance and stuff like that too, so they're actually really good against dragons since most dragons are usually fire. And in this one, for some oddball reason, they only made them fire and ice, which is extremely weird because I think they should have made electric dragons in Skyrim, but that's personally just me. Now, Bretons are your best way if you want to go for Conjuration Mages. They're the best one out of all classes you can choose from, even better than High Elves in my opinion. Once again, have better access to Conjuration spells. You can have Conjuration / Necromancy. Bretons are going to be the way to go. There is an item later on in the game that's not DLC, I believe. You can actually get an actual main story mode that allows you to have 2 stones at once, where there's a glitch or a bug in the Skyrim, at least the console version, I'm not sure about PC, where you can actually have a full-scale Necromancy army. Necromancy is something I really don't bother with too much in Skyrim games because you actually have to kill your enemies in order to actually bring them back. So if you're really struggling in the game, it's not really going to work too well for you. Argonians, I'd say, are the third best thief class in the game, / the best class for a thief in the game. For one main reason: they can actually breathe underwater. No other class in the game can do that unless you make some sort of potion that allows you to breathe underwater. So it's basically just, there's treasure chests or sunken ships, stuff like that. So if you want to, explore the underseas of the Skyrim and stuff like that, go with the Argonians. They're going to be your best option, especially in any dungeons that may actually have any, sunken areas. Usually it's more like downloadable content that people will get from adding extra stuff to the game. Not really so much into the actual story mode itself. Now, orcs, on the other hand, are going to be your bruiser type. Heavy armor. They almost no health whatsoever, but because of the amount they have berserk, which basically is going to double the damage they're going to do. If you're feeling like really ballsy, you thinking, I don't want to be too much of a tank, but I want to go in there with just the highest amount of damage you can actually deal, take out as many enemies as you can. Orcs are going to be your way to go. Red guards are going to be more of your dodge sprinters type of characters. They're slightly more better tier in combat when it comes to Imperials, especially with the adrenaline rush. So if you're using a sword, a shield, or even dual wielding, Red guards are going to be your way. Dual wielding blocking does not exist in Skyrim, and I don't think it exists in Oblivion either. It's never made any sense to me why Bethesda did not add that into the game. I don't know if it's just like a character glitch that would probably happen, or they have to like remake all the characters and do it. It's really weird why they did not implement that into the game. Now, when it comes to all character classes, whether it be assassins or thieves, my personal opinion, wood elves are the best because they're basically have natural resistance to poison and disease. Most poisons are usually come from other like spiders or other enemies. Diseases are going to come more for your spriggans and stuff like that. You have the ability to control animals. I don't use that too much because half the time the animal is going to be higher than your actual spell itself, so it just doesn't make a lot of sense. And plus, you can't control dragons that way, anyways. But they make the best assassins in the game. They make the best thieves in the game. And once your stealth pretty much gets high enough or to the max point, you pretty much become undetectable through the entire game, even with an enemy who has extremely high insight to detect stealth characters. You will get past them. I know this because there was one cave area that I believe it was like one of the thieves guilds, but there was like 10 enemies in one room, and I snuck past every single one of them without them detecting me, and grabbed loot and got out of the thing. So wood elves are the way we're going to go. We are using controller. I am not playing this on mouse and keyboard just because it's just goddamn useless. And at this point, I'm going to design a character so you don't have to worry about that and having to speed through all this junk and all stuff like that. So it will fade into the next part where we actually get into the game itself. Alright, see you then.
Not many wood elves would choose to come alone to Skyrim.
No, but I did.
Captain, what should we do?
We went for more, I always go from like the more metal,
She goes to the block.
gothic type of look with all my characters, whether male or female. But our character is named Morgan, and she's our female wood elf.
Follow the captain, prisoner.
Got a can of Monster next to me, and play one of my favorite games. Of course, usually we're gonna play this on novice. I'm here just to enjoy a good time.
Ulfric Stormcloak. Some here in Helgen call you a hero, but a hero doesn't use a power like the voice to murder his king and usurp his throne.
Now, if you're unaware what happened, there's this thing called the Thuum, or a voice. It's basically the voice of the dragons, and Ulfric challenged the King of Solitude to this and defeated him. And they brand him as a heretic to Skyrim because he will not join the Empire against the High Elves, or the Thalmor, even though he did win his duel.
For the love of Talos, shut up and let's get this over with.
So think of like the 7 or 10 pace walk, and then you would fire pistols, but same thing, but with your voices. Empire wants to bring Skyrim into their, or excuse me, the Imperials want to bring Skyrim into their own empire through the Treaty of the Whitecord, Treaty of through the Thalmor, who defeated them after the Oblivion events. But Stormcloaks over here want freedom for Skyrim from themselves, but they only want Nords in Skyrim. So there's a kind of a racist thing going on there, but they want to be their own independent country in a sense. And the Empire does not want that.
I said next prisoner.
To the block, prisoner.
And of course, the Thalmors, which are the High Elves, want to basically enslave everyone into their little elf kingdom, which is one of the reasons why I despise them. Same thing with the Empire. Instead of just fighting back, even though they might have lost, you know, they still chose just to submit and to, you know, be a slave to them.
What in Oblivion?
And there's Alduin.
Sentries. What do you see?
It's in the clouds.
Very first video, I'm keeping the game music in, and we'll see how YouTube goes with that. But most of this is just gonna be the complete intro.
This way.
I have my key binding switched.
What is that thing? Could the legends be true?
Legends don't
Blood down villages. Alright, well, I'm going up.
We need to move now.
Just need to move.
Well, you know he did.
You need to get over here.
And
Now.
since the beginning of the game, your hands are bind, so you can't use any spells or anything like that. You just run.
Still alive, prisoner?
Alduin is basically kind of like a god-esque type of dragon, more half-god, really. Since Marius Dagon, I'm pretty sure, is the Daedric Lord of Dragons, along with Destruction. But I'm very rusty on my Daedric lore.
Into the keep, soldier.
So now at this point is where you get to decide, do you want to join the Stormcloaks or do you want to join the Empire? Each one has their own different storyline when it comes to the campaign. I always choose the Stormcloaks, usually 9 out of 10 times anyways, so there's that.
We'll meet again in sorrow.
And the one thing I forgot to mention is,
Looks like we're the only ones who made it. That thing was a dragon, no doubt. Just like
Yeah.
the children's stories and the legends. The harbingers of the end times. We better get moving. Come here.
this first video might be a
Let me
little
see
over
if I
20
can get
minutes
those
just because of my
vines
intro
going.
talk in the beginning, so I do apologize.
There you go.
And the one thing I forgot to
Here's what
mention
big gun your skier. He won't be needed.
is that when it comes to the melee characters, your Red Guards and your Imperials are going to be... Would you shut the hell up, Rayloff, please? I'm talking here. Are going to be more based around your sword and shields. Orcs are going to be more based around your Warhammers. And your Nords are going to be more based around axes and stuff like that. What the hell is my thing? So yeah. But since we're playing a Wood Elf, we're going to be using bows.
Let's see about that cake.
Yeah, so this is our character. Meet Morrigan. And she'd be ready to kick some ass. Now, when it comes to this, you do have options in the beginning of the game. You can choose your destruction spells, and usually restoration tends to be the first two you normally get. I believe with the Bretons, you do get access to conjuration right off the bat. But remember, the more
From our side.
weapons or magic you use, the quicker you're going to get them to level up. Same thing with stealth. The more undetectable you can, the more undetectable you are, the faster your stealth will gain too. Surprise! Oh. Yes, I know that.
Easily blocked.
My controller is a little funky right now.
Maybe one of these Imperials had
There was like a delay in that. I don't like that.
the key. Lock that door.
Yes, I know that. When it comes to stealth characters, use light armor. You can use heavy armor. I've used it in the past. Doesn't really make too much of a difference. It will kind of slow you down a bit, and it's a lot more louder. Mages, you always want to use robes unless you plan to be something like a what?
Come on. Let's get out of here before
You
the
do that,
dragon
buddy. I'm gonna
brings
come
the
over here
whole
for a
tower
second.
down on our heads.
Give me that. This. You don't have it. I can't remember the battle mages is what I'm trying to think of. I want. One of the mistakes most people tend to make is they don't go back here and explore. This would be the entrance that you would choose if you were doing the Imperials, but there's some wine and stuff like that. There are usually some gear you can usually take. We're going to load up on this as much as possible, because eventually we'll get access to a bow. And there's some little bit of gold over here you can get to. Usually, most items will tell you the value of the open world value. So if something's worth 5 gold, usually at most shopkeepers they'll usually charge you half of that. You know, and you'll get like 2.5 gold or some crap like that. That does not block. Oh, that's because they were saying that for everything. And third person stealth. Always a fancy. I don't know if we're going to be able to get those too much with him being there. Now you can automatically get a automatic kill if you're sneaky enough. Bye-bye. I'm definitely going to be switching, accidentally pressing between the first and third person mode, so I do apologize. Everyone's like, choose one already. Well, I can't. With archery, you do have the option to allow crosshairs for your HUD. If you want the more realistic version, go without the HUD. If you're new to Skyrim, you want the practice, go with the marker. If you choose not to use a marker, it does take a little more practice to actually use the bow itself to determine where the enemy is. Unless you know you're actually a skilled archer in real life, then you know how to aim a bow. Let me get him, let me get him! Oh, I'm out of stamina. Damn it.
Was Jarl Ulfric with you?
No, I haven't seen
Before you take those lockpicks in there, Ulfric, Rayloff, or
Looks like there's
I
something
forget what
in
the other
this
guy's name
cave.
is, he'll actually give you more lockpicks.
It's locked.
So he gives you 12, but if you actually take the lockpicks in here, he won't give it to you. Unless they change that. Lockpicking is extremely more different, and it's actually more realistic than in Oblivion, where it would actually, in Oblivion, they show you the actual inside of the lock, and you have to adjust the tumblers. Here, lockpicking is a lot more easier, but not by much. Especially when you get into actual master locks, which I've picked plenty of. Without the skeleton key too. It's not easy, but it's not as sensitive as is in Oblivion, so. You do use your analog. You do use your analog sticks. If you actually get really good at it, you can actually get this in one full go and actually gain a full level out of it. But since I've played Skyrim in such a long ass time, I'm gonna be a little rusty at it. You can normally just pick these locks for the hell of it. You're just mostly getting experience out of it anyways. As usual, counterclockwise, clockwise is how you're going to be picking them. And your left analog stick is what allows you to adjust the pick. For alchemy users, it's going to be helpful in the beginning, but later on in the game, alchemies are really going to suck ass, especially if you go through the poison route, because poison does not do the consistent amount of damage it will, because most enemies will tend to have a higher poison immune later on in the game. So alchemy is only going to be really good for you if you plan to use something like potions or something that's going to give you boosts to like your smithing and stuff like that. So just be aware of that. I think what we'll do is we'll clear out this dungeon and we'll end. This will be our first video. Ah, damn it. Why does it do that? My control, I gotta get a new Xbox 360 controller. My thing is like so overly sensitive. I barely tap the trigger and it's like, it's automatically doing a charge attack and it's really annoying. We got our first bow. That's getting ditched. There is weights in this game, so be aware. Yeah, my controller is just like completely just broken. I've dropped this goddamn thing so many damn times. Yeah, see how I'm not even pulling the trigger. Alright, means I gotta get a new Xbox 360 controller. So I might switch between PC keyboard, mouse and keyboard. Even though I really don't want to. We're gonna see how far we can get with the regular controller. But my trigger button gets stuck because the cord is pretty much just shot, so there's that electrical delay in your controller where it tries to read it, but then it's like freezes for a moment, and then you're like, you can fire it anytime now. This is where you're gonna come across your first creatures in the game: spiders and a bear. Spiders usually use poison, and there tend to be multiple of them. So if you have huge arachnophobia, I highly suggest you don't play Skyrim, or you get somebody come through this area. But this is actually one of the easiest ways to get your stealth up too. So yeah, there's that delay. I don't like that. I'm like I said, we'll finish this off with the controller, but I'm probably going to use mouse and keyboard. Yeah, see, I don't like that for the controller. We'll use mouse and keyboard. It's going to take a little more time to get used to it. Yeah. There's such a huge delay with my goddamn controller, it's ridiculous. You can harvest them for frostbite venom, which is one of going to be your earliest poisons to get. Really nice to have. And if you get a crit, you get slow motions like that, which is really awesome, especially when you play the archer, because you can actually get like really good shots from really long distances. And eventually you are allowed to actually zoom in, which is unrealistic, but so you can actually just be like a full-on sniper in this game. So there is a certain area that I always go to at the beginning of the game, especially when I play my archer classes, and for all my Skyrim users, it's the Forsworn Castle, and they'll know exactly. I think it's like called Sunguard or something like that. Forsworn, probably one of the best archers in the game, has some of the best light armor in the game you can actually get, one of the best bows in the game you can actually get early on, but they can be extremely dangerous to go against if you're not careful.
Hold up. There's a bear just ahead. See her? I'd rather not tangle with her right now. Let's try to sneak by. Just take it nice and slow. And watch where you step. Or if you're feeling lucky.
Now, this is where your choice option begins. You can choose to attack the bear, gain some increase to your archery or stealth or whatnot. I highly recommend just slap on a frostbite venom potion on there, and it'll pretty much kill the bear instantly. Or, if you're going to go through more of the stealth way and gain that up a little more quicker, you can sneak past the bear. I usually kill the bear, but as you can see, you gain a lot more quicker to your level if you manage to just sneak past them. Now, stealth, like any other stealth game, is based on your movement. The faster you move, the more detectable you will be. And that's pretty much with any enemy in the game. So just be aware. But before we go through that, we're going to end the first video here. You're not really going to miss much. Like I said, I'm probably just going to switch to mouse and keyboard until I get a new Xbox 360 controller, because this one's a piece of crap at the moment. And I have to learn the keybinds and all that stuff like that too. So kind of seems like a documentary of how I'm describing Skyrim, and somewhat of a guide. Pretty much will be /ish type of guide because of how much I've actually put into Skyrim. I always love it, so I will pretty much just ramble on about this goddamn game through literally the playthrough itself. But either way, stay safe, healthy, and sanitized. Make sure to drop a like, think about subscribing, leave comments below, and let me know when was the first time you played Skyrim and which class were you excited for. And I'll make sure to check those comments out. I'll see you guys.